Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 132. Thank you very much for joining me today. I am your host, Chris, as always, here in my studio, doing these album reviews, hanging out with you, listening to these albums. You're reviewing them with me, I guess, because that's what this whole music commentary thing's all about, right? Anyways, that's what we're doing here today. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you like what you see and or hear today, the algorithmic gods need me to remind you to do one thing, a bunch of things, or all the things to show your support for the show. And that is like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, and follow. 6 quick, free, and easy things that you can do literally right now, a little later on, doesn't really matter, at any of them at any time. Super well appreciated. Thank you very much for doing that. Means the world to me. It really does. And of course, you can find the places to do all of those things over on ratetherecord.ca. That is ratetherecord.ca. All of the streaming links, social media links. The RTR Club is over there, $3 a month, which will get you early access to episodes, shout out on social media, and of course, shout out in the episodes as well. I'll review one of your band's songs. There's a bunch of other stuff that I'm just not thinking of off the top of my head, but the RTR Club, I'm a great salesman. Go ahead, check it out, $3 a month. And of course, the album rating chart is all found at ratetherecord.ca. Just was trying to get through that part a little faster than I usually do, but so there it is. You can go ahead and check that out. So for today, episode 132, you can clearly see already in the title the name of what we're doing. Maybe you've heard of this band, maybe you haven't, that's fine, but we're looking at Mother Mother and their 2012 album, The Styx. Mother Mother's done pretty well here in Canada. They're pretty good on the indie scene. They've popped up in a lot of different types of media and everything like that, so I figured I'd go back and give this album like a full, thorough listen. Never listened to the full thing before, so this was technically my first time. I'm excited to jump into this with you, but just before I do, let's go ahead and find out just a little bit more about the album itself. The Styx is the 4th full-length studio album by Canadian indie rock band Mother Mother. The album was released September 18th, 2012, and released through Last Gang Records, the Canadian-based label who have released albums for bands such as Billy Talent, Chromeo, Death from Above, Metric, and more. It was recorded at Hipposonic Studios and Fader Mountain Sound in Vancouver, BC, and was produced by Ben Kaplan, who's also done work for bands such as Mudvayne, Robin Black and the Intergalactic Rockstars, Biffy Clyro, and many more, and also by band guitarist and lead vocalist Ryan Goldman. Also a part of the band as of this album was Ryan's sister Molly Goldman on vocals and keyboards, Jasmine Parkin on keyboards and vocals, Jeremy Page on bass, and Ali Sadat on drums. The album wasn't reviewed by many publications I could find, but landed a 4 out of 5 with the Edmonton Journal and on AllMusic. The album spawned 3 singles: Let's Fall in Love, which was nominated for a Juno, Bit by Bit, also nominated for a Juno, and Infinitesimal. Well, there you go, just a little bit more about the album, just in case you didn't know already. It was kind of weird that the album didn't have more reviews that I could find. I don't know if I wasn't looking well enough, but I tried, but I guess it's because they weren't as well known back then, right? So I guess it makes sense that there wouldn't be as much to find on it. But with that said, I do have it here on the screen next to me. 16 songs on Spotify, but here's the deal. I'm only doing the first 14. So as far as I can read, or as I could find, I should say, the first 14 tracks are the only ones that were on the original release of the album. Songs 15 and 16, Cesspool of Love and All Gone, were apparently additional songs for the vinyl version and bonus digital tracks for iTunes and specifically through Last Gang Records. So apparently the original release was only 14 songs, but I could be wrong. I don't know. As far as I read, as I said, that's what it seems like. So if I'm wrong, please let me know and I will redux the score. I want to be fair about this. But the rule on the show is I only do original releases. So if it's the first 14 tracks, that's what I'm going to do. And realistically, I'll get to it when we get to it. But song 14 is a very fantastic bookend to the album, and it makes sense to end right there. So I hope this is true. With that said, we can actually jump right into it now with song number 1, a short little intro track called Omen. And I'm just going to pause it there because it's essentially over. I just kind of fast forwarded through this one, as you can see in the edit there. Song number 1, Omen, it's only 1 minute and 6 seconds. So, I mean, like, not really too much to take in from that one. But, it's a simple little intro to the album, which is always fine to get things kicked off. You have a few lines of lyrics that kind of come in, some nice piano work to just kind of lay the foundation of what to expect in this album. And as far as I'm concerned, I do believe this album is a concept album overall, so an intro like this definitely makes sense to have in like just kind of getting you ready for everything. I definitely don't dislike it. It's really short, not much to pull from it, but you know what? It's a decent start to the album. Why not, right? So let's move on to the first full track of the album, song number 2, The Sticks, the title track. Cool. Song number 2, the title track itself, The Sticks. There's a nice slower pace to this track, and I think that it actually suits that somewhat darker nature that this track is pushing forward. So that's really cool. I dig what this is doing right in the beginning. You already got my attention. I like it. And that fuzzy bass, too, in this song has an excellent tone on it. And again, you've been to this podcast before. I'm kind of a horror fan of that kind of stuff. Cool bass tone. Really like it. Just a nice touch to the sound overall. And it's something of a blanket statement I want to lay down now, just so I don't have to keep bringing it up over and over and over again, although I do think I have it in a couple of more notes moving forward. But this track, this album as a whole, has really fantastically constructed harmonies, like vocal harmonies. Because if I read correctly, Ryan wanted to start this band as kind of being like this poppy vocal driven kind of thing that would work in a lot of harmony and everything like that. Obviously this album steps a bit beyond the pop range, but at the same time, like, that's very much still present in it, and I think it's just done very wonderfully again on this song, on this album as a whole. So it's a good start to see what you're in for with that aspect of the album. Really cool stuff, really like it. The chorus was super catchy, it's very memorable, very, very easy to sing along to. It's very much an earworm. There's no way to escape that. And I think there's quite a few earworms all over this album, and you're going to see them as we move forward and everything like that. And yeah, it only makes sense that the lyrics perfectly nail the themes of this album, considering this is the title track. And the themes of this one being more or less about like isolation and just escaping the world that you're accustomed to. You're going to see that more as we go through. But yeah, this does a good job of kind of like setting that narrative in motion. So just kind of keep that with you as we move forward. Good stuff though. Great start to the album. Fantastic title track. Glad we got it pretty early in. So let's see how the rest of this does with song number 3, Let's Fall in Love. Very crunchy and dirty ending to that one. The tone got very gnarly there. But that's fine by me. Song number 3, Let's Fall in Love. Overall, probably the first real poppier number on the album. And you'll see these kinds of tracks as we move forward. There's at least a few more that have that much poppier feel to them. And I think the steady kick, like dance rhythm of this is like a huge giveaway of that just to start it off. And then also the sweeping synths on top of that. Just very airy, and just some of them are like sequenced. So just you're kind of getting all that poppiness right there as compared to the first track that didn't quite have it. So as I said, some of it kind of goes back and forth between the two. In the verses, despite that kick drum, this has something of like a more drifting sway to it, which is really nice. Because like the vocals are just kind of like slowly drifting. The instrumentals behind that are doing that too. But then the choruses bring a little more of that punch of like rock edge, which kind of helps pick up the excitement a little more. So you're getting a little bit of everything in this song, which is kind of nice. It's a really well-crafted song too. I do enjoy this one. Compositional structuring is fantastic on it, especially with the vocals too. I love the way that everything's being presented here. So not really a lot of complaints about this one. Not my favorite on the album, but at the same time, definitely not near the bottom. I'd say that much. And we'll find more out about that later. But first, we have to move on to song number 4, Businessman. Song number 4, Businessman. This one, I really kind of enjoy like the poppier feel of this one as compared to the last track. The chorus is super fun on this one. I really think it's fantastic. I love the heaviness that picks up. The vocals are just really well presented here. Just everything about it just kind of gets me more excited, I guess. It gets me going. So by all means, has my attention, really enjoying it. I really like a lot of the little textured layers that are kind of spread all over the verses as well. It's like really pleasing little touches just being thrown in that definitely enhanced the song overall. And it was one of those things I was listening to multiple times, and I'd pick up on it more and more, and just the importance of it, especially wearing headphones. So I definitely dig that. One of the better things about the song, not that it's a bad song, but I think those small touches always do like wonders for the song, even if people aren't aware of it. It's definitely one of the bigger things to kind of pay attention to, even though it's buried in the background. And lyrically too, it's funny because like I don't want to get too much into what I do for a living, even though I think I've mentioned it on this podcast before. But I mean, these lyrics mean more to me now than when I first heard them like years and years and years ago. Like in the last 3 years, I've been working my job, my actual full-time job that's not Rate the Record or anything like that. I've heard so much strange business and entrepreneurial lingo that it feels so goddamn alien to me, even to this day. Even when I've found out what certain terms mean, it's still a very alien language to me. When I hear all of this stuff being talked, I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? Do I have the right job? So the fact that this is like, referring to the businessman and like, they got their own lingo and they're almost their own species at some points. Like, I get it. I absolutely get it. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one too. So I relate. I like the song even more because I can relate to the lyrics. Okay, we'll move on now. Song number 5, Dread in My Heart.
There's a devil in my brain with a pitchfork. I wonder what it's like to be the type of my heart. And I can't seem to change my attitude, but I can change my shirt.
And we go out on the sounds of the beach and the sea and the whatnot and the wildlife and the woods and the sticks, if you will. Song number 5, Dread in My Heart. And the first thing I can think of is like, ooh, we got ourselves a little folky number going on here. And I kind of dig it, actually. Wonderful finger-picked guitars. I think they sound fantastic. Wordy but well-crafted vocals and well-placed harmonies everywhere. So it's super, super nice. Like, my folk knowledge is limited. Like, I haven't listened to tons and tons and tons of it. But one of the first things I thought of when I heard the song was probably Memory Lane by Elliott Smith. But there's just something about it that was kind of reminding me of that. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. And there's probably a million other examples I can use, but whatever, that's just what I thought of. And also, I love that song, so if I'm comparing it to this one, that's usually a good sign. But yeah, it's pleasant to have this track at this point in the track list, plus it's short and very much effective. We're talking 2 minutes and 31 seconds, so you can listen to it, enjoy it. You don't gotta wait too long for it to finish if you don't want to. It's very nice, I do like it. And there's definitely feelings of anxiety all over this track. You can definitely pick that up. The lyrics are extremely evident in it. And it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Like, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this song has to do about feeling a heavy anxiety, maybe just about the world in general, or just general anxiety. I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest that, oh my god, a song with a folk composition is far more tragic than it lets on, because that instrumental passage, really pretty, really bright, uplifting, warm. If you're not listening to the lyrics, you could just think it's the happiest song in the world, but then you listen to the lyrics and they're fucking tragic and terrifying. That's happened far more than once, speaking of Memory Lane by Elliott Smith. But yeah, this song, I think, kind of does that. I do like it, though. Really appreciate it, so why not? I enjoy it. It's fun. And now we can move on to song number 6, a song name that I almost botched in the album intro, Infinitesimal. It's a weird word, and I don't think I've said it much at all in my life, period, so I'm surprised I'm not fumbling it.
Every little one's got a million things. Every little bit started with a big bang, but they say it was really just a small.
Gonna stop it there because I kind of have to. It bleeds into the next song. Song number 6, Infinitesimal. I said I wasn't gonna fumble it right before the song started, and then I fumbled it. Infinitesimal. There you go. I did that to myself. I literally like summoned that shit to happen. Anyways, speaking of shit, the song is not shit. I do enjoy it. The harmonies are definitely one of the bigger things that stand out in this one, to me at the very least. Not that it's a bad track, as I said, I do like it, but it's definitely far more straightforward compositionally, so you're not picking up too much from it. Aside from, again, just those harmonies, just great stuff, really well crafted, very smart about it. Like, I think that's one of the bigger things many people can appreciate about an album like this. And I love that lyrically, this song gives off vibes of both not sweating the small stuff and just kind of getting on with your life, but then also this realization of just being so small, which means that your problems are even smaller than that. So in a way, it is kind of comforting, and it's all done in a very catchy way. So by all means, if you're looking to feel better for even a half second here, listening to this song, it's short, sweet, punchy, under 3 minutes, does everything it needs to. And you might even feel a little warmer upon listening to it. You know, it's just one of those, don't sweat it. It's fine. You are tiny in this goddamn universe. You're not even a pinhole in this universe. So your problems are even smaller than that. I get it. It's fine. I dig it. Cool. I guess you could say I might feel kind of happy. Maybe. I doubt it. Song number 7, Happy.
What does it mean? I tell you that I am in the dark with an itty bitty hole.
It's a bunch of weird little background distorted stuff kind of fading out there, so I'll pause it. Song number 7, Happy. And if you could guess it, no, the song's not as happy as you might think it is. It's not fucking Pharrell Williams or anything like that. Ugh. Anyways, moving on. This one's another nice little come down to have in the album overall. I do like the placement on this one, but at the same time, I feel like it would have been better spread out throughout the entire track list. But then again, saying that out loud now, I realize when we will get to it, obviously, there are quieter songs in the second half of the album. There's actually quite a few of them. So I don't know if you could spread it out anymore. So maybe this was a good, appropriate place for this song, you know? So like, this album doesn't have a lot of hills and valleys. It kind of has more slope than anything. Mood-wise, that is. Not like whether I'd like or hate the album or anything like that. I like the touches of atmosphere all around this song too. Be it the background vocals that are like reverbed, just kind of going everywhere in the background, or just reverberated. That's what I wanted to say. Reverbed. That's a new one. Anyways, it could be that like reverbed in the background. It could be the drawn out instrumental passages or something like that. But it just feels like there's a lot more mist to this one, if that makes any sense. And it definitely follows the theme pretty well. And I use the word mist because I find the song to be a very touching song revolving around depression. And I mean, you know, we all have our own ways around and through it, but never truly over it. So I like that the lyrics in the song are far more down to earth about it and not just romanticizing it like a lot of bands and artists tend to do. This one feels a lot more relatable in a way. So I definitely dig that. So that's why I'm saying mist, because it's not just one of those things like I'm sad, everyone look at me now type deal, or, you know, just it's probably a bad example, but yeah, you know how some bands and artists can just really go over the top with it and just make it their everything, and it's their character at that point. It's not even like something they're suffering from, it's a fucking character. But this song actually feels more relatable to it, and I really do appreciate that. And so good job. Very pretty song. Definitely enjoyed it. So let's move on now to song number 8, Bit by Bit. I waited all the way to the end for that one. Song number 8, Bit by Bit. A lot more attitude in that song for sure. It kind of has that kind of edgy attitude that the title track, The Sticks, actually has. And I'll have another note about that in just a minute, but I want to talk about this song a little bit first. As I said, a lot of attitude. There's a lot of punch to this track. It's very bouncy, and also you have that very front-facing snare that's really helping drive that beat home. So by all means, it's so easy to see that this is kind of the perfect partner track to that title track. I think that's really cool. And lyrically, like, the themes are there to fit it as well. Because, I mean, this has to do with escapism all over again, and it's talking pretty much exactly what the Styx was talking about. Because you're leaving, you're bringing a book with you, you're going into the wild, you're going to find and settle down with a Wiccan or pagan woman or something like that. Seems like a pretty set in stone plan. So, like, throughout this, like, extending story of this narrator, it's like they had that in the beginning of the story, and that thought is still very much there, and they're, like, ready to act on it. So I like that there's kind of like this progression and a callback, and even like the la-di-da-di-da line that comes from the first track, Styx, that makes another comeback in this one, and apparently that's kind of like a lingo for just talking about, like, you know, the business world, corporate world, and just like, you know, the people, the conformists and everything like that, I guess is the best way to word it. That's just like a way to describe them. They are like the la-di-da-di-da, whatever. It's kind of like the Seinfeld yada yada yada, if you will. So I guess that's why it makes it come back in this one, and makes a lot of sense that it does too. But yeah, this one's full of like excellent catchy melodies. It's great, and there's also a great shout along chorus. Probably one of the better singles in my eyes on this album, or in my ears, I guess, since I'm listening to it, not necessarily looking at it in my hands or anything. But yeah, great track, great single, really like it. So this album has done great so far. Curious to hear the rest of it. Song number 9 now is the next one, Latter Days.
The guys of the modern day. I'm getting to look at the girl with the modern face.
And that's where I pause it then. Song number 9, Latter Days. Quite the build up in the beginning of this one. It almost kind of leads you to believe it's going to be another one of those like slower, quieter, moodier type of tracks. Very quiet and atmospheric with like a lot of like echoing keys, drums, even vocal portions as well. Then we're treated to this very bright and warm feeling composition. I'm almost surprised that this one wasn't a single because of its like almost overly poppy style and super singable chorus. I feel like this was a very, very catchy song, but maybe they just didn't see the single appeal of it. And I mean, yeah, only 2 million listens on this album, so as compared to some of the other tracks. So I don't know, maybe it just didn't catch on, but I'm actually surprised it wasn't a single. Just, I think it would have fit. And so music theory isn't my strong point, as I've listed in the past in the podcast. But would I be wrong to say that this song is like in 7/4, or it's like 6/8 going into 4/4, or 8/8, if that's even a thing? I don't really know. As I said, it's not my strong point. But regardless, there's like an odd time signature in this one that feels like 7/4 at the very least. So I'm going to go with that just for the sake of making this easier on myself. I love the use of this odd 7/4 time signature. It's a hard thing to do. I've done it in a song myself where like finding the right composition to fit 7/4 can be kind of awkward sometimes, but I think this one did a very good job of it, and definitely had me listening in like closely quite a few times to just really start digging it and like following the rhythm perfectly and everything like that. Just, it has good replayability is what I'm trying to say. I really enjoy that. So fun stuff. Interesting that they're doing that. And yeah, I mean, just another good song for the album. What can I say? I can actually say that we're going to move on now to song number 10, Little Pistol.
Chips so that they know it all. I think I might be scared. I lose my mind.
Song number 10, Little Pistol. This one feels a little all over the place, but in a fun way. I can very much say that. It's generally a melancholic, folky type of track. Oh, there you go, another folk song feeling very sad. Of course it is. And then we get these like big sudden hits of like loud vocals and instrumentals that just like really add some tension to the track. A very erratic nature, if you will. And I'm also really digging the use of those auxiliary percussions that we hear, especially throughout the verses and even other portions of the song too. It really helped build that tension and, of course, like mystery and overall atmosphere to go along with the song. So there's a lot of thought put into this one and a lot of thought to give to this song as well as you're listening to it, even though there's, again, not tons to it, but enough to really keep the intrigue there, you know? But yeah, as I said, like the erratic nature of this song, I do believe it follows well with the suit of the lyrics. Once again, like very thematic, kind of dark lyrics that the rest of the album has kind of been flirting with. It's based a lot around like paranoia and hopelessness. Definitely a lot more to appreciate with that, like with the erratic nature of the song matching with those lyrics is what I'm talking about. Because obviously you're going to be a little unsettled in that nature. So by all means, the music is definitely there to help amplify those feelings. So really good storytelling here. Really enjoying what's going on. Just again, well crafted all over the place. So let's move on now to song number 11. Love It Dissipates. Oh, there's not even there's not a comma. So Love It Dissipates. There you go. Just one straight sentence. All right. Song number 11. Love It Dissipates. Again, no commas, so just gotta say it one straight line. Anyways, incredibly minimal presentation in this one as compared to even some of the other slower and quieter songs on this album. It's super intimate and unplugged with like a single layer acoustic. You got these very soft set vocals and like occasional saxophone adding like this little bit of a texture in the background. You can also hear these very distant sounds too every once in a while. Like a strange little texture to add. It's kind of like someone's like dropping drumsticks or something in the background, something along the lines of that. But like way in the back of the studio, like you can hear the distance of sound in the studio with this one. Like it sounds a mile away. So I think that's just pretty cool. It's a nice little touch. Maybe didn't need to be there, but at the same time, I like these like little things that are added. So why not? I dig it. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek lyrics in this one as well. It's obviously not obviously, but what I'm picking up, it's like a toxic, codependent kind of relationship. But it is really well written, though. I do really like that. And I guess on top of the lyrics too, like if it is talk about a toxic, codependent relationship, maybe it's like this idea of wanting to bring this person with you when you leave, or this is what you're leaving behind. And there are lyrics on the final song, To the Wild, that I think might reference this in a way. And maybe if I remember to mention it, I didn't write it down in my notes. So if I remember to mention it, I will. If not, sorry. Anyways, we'll see. We'll see how well my brain works. But yeah, a lot of tongue-in-cheek lyrics about that kind of stuff. Just more of that dark humor on display that we've gotten so far in the album at certain points. And again, we will get it a little more moving forward. Other than that, there's not a lot to grab from this one, so it's hard to say too much more about it, but it certainly is pleasant enough. I enjoyed it for the sad song that it is. So we can move on to song number 12, The Cry Forum. Stopping it there, right on a Dutch poem. Interesting way to end the songs, and I'll get into that in a minute. Don't worry about it. Song number 12, The Cry Forum. So just a few notes, I guess, before I talk about that poem. The nice growling lower tones on the guitar and bass in this one. Feels good to have something like that in the album at this point in the track list. I know we've kind of gotten it already a bit before, but we're getting close to the end, so it's just nice to kind of bring it back a little bit, at least one more time. And as much as I appreciated some of the instrumental passages like this on this album, I think this one didn't really grab me all that much, unfortunately. It just felt flatter in some ways than the other tracks, so I wasn't really lured in by it. There weren't even really like a lot of these like kind of textural touches that usually pulled me in with other songs. This one just felt far flatter with it, if you will. There's still things to enjoy about it, but just, I don't know, this one didn't do enough for me in that regard. And lyrically too, it is interesting how the song kind of like shifts a bit with what it's originally been meaning. Because I feel like it's shifting a bit from isolation and escaping to having this hint of like wanting these people that you're escaping from to kind of see things the way that you do. That's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like you'd rather not go back to society or anything like that, but secretly you'd hope that maybe they would understand enough and then want to join you. So that way at least you're amongst like-minded people. That's kind of what I'm getting out of the lyrics. I could be kind of off on that, but that's just what I'm pulling from it. And that poem at the end there too. I'm going to pull up my phone. I'm literally going to read off this a little bit, just because I have some information based on it and I forgot to put it in the notes. Oops. But yeah, apparently it's the first stanza of a song called, or a poem called If by Rudyard Kipling. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Again, it's a Dutch name. It's also a Dutch poem. And it was actually recited by Molly and Ryan's dad. So that's pretty interesting, just keeping everything in the family here. So with what I just related the lyrics to, maybe this can make sense. I don't know, but I'll leave it up to you to decide. So the whole poem translates to, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. I don't know. I didn't spend enough time trying to break down that poem. Like I read it before I did the review, and then I'm reading it now, and I never took enough time to break it down. But there you go. Tie it in somehow, if you will. That's your homework for the day. My homework is on the screen in front of me. I had to do an album review. Good. It's a decent song, I guess. Again, nothing really grabbed me too much about it, but it's not awful by any means. It's fine. But we will move on now to the penultimate track, the actual real penultimate track of the album, song number 13, Waiting for the World to End.
In a cloud of dark and dirt, of Hubbard's Peak, and we'll tumble for the world to end.
Sudden cutoff. I didn't just stop the song. Like, it ended right there very suddenly. Song number 13, Waiting for the World to End. It's another laid back, emotional feeling acoustic track for the album. It seems like the back half of this album is like loaded with this stuff too. But I mean, given the lyrical themes of this, I guess it makes sense where this is. The themes being like this relief thinking about the end of the world. And so suddenly there won't be any worry and there won't be this need to have to escape because everyone will have technically escaped at that point, right? So just trying to find like a little bit of relief in this idea that, who knows, maybe it could all end right now. No, I think I'm still here. I think I'm still good. Sorry to the audio listeners that it went quiet for a minute there. I did a dumb joke of me looking around the room, expecting everything to end, but it didn't. It's fine. We're all still here. All good. But on the note of the lyrical theme itself, this could have gone one of two ways on how it could have been presented. It could have been this very loud and chaotic kind of song because, like, you know, you're kind of unhinged at this point, just waiting for the world to end. So it could have just gotten pretty crazy. Or you have this like unsettling, somber track that we got here. And that's why I think it fits to be where it is in the track list. So by all means, good choice there. Another well thought out move for this album. There's a lot of airy and like sweeping textures that pop up periodically that add a lot of that aforementioned unsettling feeling to this song. It really adds like this unhinged. Oh geez, I can speak. It really adds this unhinged nature to this fantasy that the narrator's having, like almost as if like it would be an intrusive thought that the narrator could act out on if they had the control to do it. So it's kind of like they're getting ready to just like jump and make the move, you know, and just like finally just, I'm actually gone this time. It's actually happening. So it's nice that this story is wrapping up and you can see where it's going from here. And there's like a bit of building towards the end too that's actually really effective. It's actually fine that it didn't quite resolve either. It kind of really goes far to like emphasize that frail nature of the narrator's mental state. Even like the very abrupt end there, I'm not huge on it, but it does fit, so I'll let it be. It's fine, it's cool. Because again, you went through all this like weird, tense atmosphere kind of going on in your head there, and then just suddenly, boom, it's kind of like you just opened your eyes and you made the decision, it's time to go. And actually, I believe the next song, the final song in the album, bookends this all really well, ends the story, and there's also a reason why it's not Ryan singing it, but we'll get to it after we listen to it. Song number 14, To the Wild. That's going to be the end, actually, so I'm just going to pause it right there. Song number 14, final song in the album, Into the Wild. There's a bunch I got to say about this one, I guess, and tying in with previous tracks I've talked about before. I did remember to bring up the Love It Dissipates note. Again, one solid line there. But as for this one, To the Wild, like, obviously it's such a different feeling with Molly taking the lead on this one instead of Ryan, considering, like, you know, he's taken lead on every song on the album except for this one. But it's honestly kind of nice. She has such a different tone to her voice. I'm not even really certain how to describe it, but I've grown to very much like it over time. Like, when I first heard the song a long time ago, I wasn't sure about how I felt about it, but there's something just so distinctive and peaceful to it that I've certainly grown a much fonder appreciation for it. But also going back to the narrative of the lyrics, though, whereas this is the song where it just happens. Like, the trigger's been pulled, the straw's been pulled. Like, trigger's been pulled. Did I just say that? Anyways, everything's been pulled. It's fine. The pork's been pulled, not sexually, but in a sandwich kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, where am I going with this? It's done now. I think Molly's supposed to represent, like, the voice in their head, because I was reading, like, people's interpretations about it, and, like, Molly is now, like, that voice that the narrator has in their head, just saying, it's time to go. Just make the move. It's right now. And I think this song kind of symbolizes that this is where it finally happens. So it's kind of nice to have that different perspective. Narratively, it kind of reminds me of the Downward Spiral a little bit, where, like, you have this whole story building up to this final climax of the narrator ending their life, and the song Hurt is more or less just like the final fleeting moments of thought and head before death. So that's kind of, I know it's different stylistically and, like, with a much darker ending in one versus the other, but it's that idea that it's just like the last thought in the head before it finally happens, you know? So I really appreciate that much about it. And if that is exactly what the narrative is trying to pull here, I actually like it even better. I love the lower energy of this song. Like, it still has like life to it and everything like that. But overall, it feels far more laid back in its presentation, and I'm very much here for it. The instrumentals are fantastic. The singing is great. The harmonies are nice again. Just, like, everything about this is super pleasing and enjoyable to me. And of course, that dark humor is here again. You can pull it from many tracks, but I think it's far more apparent here. And I've always enjoyed it when I've heard it. This is where you can tie back to Love It Dissipates, because as I said, it's probably about, like, a toxic codependent relationship that you're in with this particular person. Well, now this voice in your head is telling you to take your girlfriend and set her hair on fire, and she's going to start screaming and run away. Then you burn down the fucking apartment and you just go. So you're literally putting that toxic codependent relationship and life behind you. You're pretty much going out as a fucking fugitive at this point. But at the same time, I think that's the perfect time, because, like, you're just, Love It Dissipates shows you where you are in that moment in time in that relationship. And this is the time where you just kind of snap and just, like, literally burn your bridges. Quite literally burn your bridges. So I kind of dig the dark humor of how this all ends, and it's on a really twisted note, but at the same time, the protagonist got what they wanted. So isn't that good, I think? Hopefully they're happy now. I don't know. That part's not really mentioned, so you can only use your imagination of how this story truly ends. But with that, the album ends, because that is the 14 tracks. Remember, we're not doing 15 and 16. Those were bonus tracks for vinyl, digital, and specifically through the label. It only went up to 14, so that is the end of The Styx by Mother Mother. a pretty damn decent album, if I do say it so myself. Again, I had never heard this whole thing. I've heard a number of tracks on it. But overall, it's a pretty good, cohesive album. I do love the story that's flowing through the entire song. I'm a big concept album guy myself, so I do enjoy that stuff when I can pick up on it at the very least. I will admit there are concept albums I'll listen to and not even think twice about because I'm just sometimes absent-minded about it. But this one was a little more on the nose for it, so I definitely get it. Yeah, enjoyable. I'm glad I came across this one. I'm glad I gave it another try because it's been a long time. I think like the last time I heard this album, maybe even full, kind of, my friend was listening to it when we used to live together in an apartment. Speaking of burning down an old apartment, we didn't do that, but I always thought about that first when I was listening to those lyrics. I wouldn't do that, but the dark humor is funny in that. But now, yes, we can finally get rid of Spotify off the screen. We don't need that there anymore because what we need is right here. The numbers just popped up. It's time to rank the songs 1 through 14. What did I think of these tracks? You know, what is my favorite to least favorite, not so great to great, like least preferred to most preferred? It doesn't matter how you cut the cake. God damn it. Get cutting that cake. You've had the whole thing there for a while. You're not eating it by yourself. We need the slices to go around. 14 to be specific. You find a way to cut it because you have to, but I have to cut my own cake now. So that's what I'm going to do. 14 through 1. Let's get this started. Where did everything fall? 14, Omen. 13, Latter Days. 12, Love It Dissipates. 11, The Cry for 'Em. 10, Waiting for the World to End. 9, Happy. 8, Infinitesimal. Didn't botch it that time. 7, Little Pistol. 6, Dread in My Heart. 5, Let's Fall in Love. 4, Bit by Bit. 3, Businessman. Silver medal goes to The Styx, because I just finished praising number 1, To the Wild. I feel like it's a really underrated track on this album because I'm even like looking at the numbers, like you can't see Spotify, but I still can. There's 1.7 million streams on it. And like, don't get me wrong, 1.7 million streams, fantastic. Who wouldn't want those numbers? But compared to every other song on the album, even Omen, the first opening track, has 2.2 million. To the Wild is the lowest streamed song on the entire album. I feel like it's an underrated gem then because I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing. A really, really well done track. A really good closer to the album. Fantastic stuff. Number 1 on my list for sure. You see the numbers? You see all the songs there? Looks good? Great, because they're gone now. Because now we need this. Rate the record. That's what it's time to do. I got to give you my score for the album. You know the scores for the songs. But how did I rate the record? Well, obviously I've been, saying some very nice things about it. And I came to my conclusion and I was thinking it was going to be really high up there. But then as it went through, obviously you saw the numbers there. It didn't quite get to where I wanted it to be, but hey, the joke continues, doesn't it? We have ourselves another B+ tier album, 79.64%. I'm being punished with these B tier albums because season 6 was full of like A tier albums, surprisingly. And now all the B tier albums are coming back. That joke is back in full force. And I honestly don't mean to do it. It's just how things are rolling out. But you know what? It's fine. Again, I pick on the B tier, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's still good to be a B tier album, especially when you're this high up. You're that damn close to an A tier album. So fantastic stuff all around. A lot of great tracks on this album. Impressed by it. I'm surprised I didn't listen to it more years ago, but I guess I just wasn't as into it. Glad I listened to it fully now. And I'm glad that you did too. So thank you very much for joining me today, hanging out and listening to this album. And if you did indeed listen to this album, please let me know down in the comments below of what you thought about it. Wherever you're listening, because there's comment sections everywhere, it doesn't really matter. Did you like this album? Did you hate it? How would you rank the songs? How would you rate the record? Do you agree or disagree with me? All this and more that you want to talk about this album for, down in the comments below. I'm very much looking forward to reading it because, again, I don't want to just do this alone. I like when you have something to say about it as well. I love reading it and I love interacting. If I have to, that, I mean, maybe you don't say anything that I need to respond to. You're just like, good album. I could just be like, cool. There you go. That's all you get. But regardless, as long as you have something to say, I'm looking forward to reading it. And you can also find all the places to let me know your opinions on these albums over at ratetherecord.ca. That is ratetherecord.ca. Streaming links, social media links, the RTR Club, and of course the album rating chart, which this album will now appear over on that chart. Go ahead and take a look. It's there. I promise. And I guess we're at the end now, but first I should do the whole algorithmic god. Don't worry, I'm doing algorithmic god. I am. Like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, and follow. Those 6 quick and easy things, free, easy things, whatever. Happy now? Are you happy up there? Did I do well? I hope I did. Don't shadow ban me. Please do one of these things to appease the gods of YouTube, please. I do this. The icon was here a bit ago, so yeah. Anyways, I'm just rambling. I'm lost now. It's fine. We're at the end of the episode, so I'll let you go. There will be another episode next week. Of course, you can come back for 133. And for that particular album, for that particular episode, we're taking a look at a band and an album that has technically been covered, I guess, or even referenced in the I Love This Song series that I have here on YouTube. I know I haven't done one in a while, but one of those songs is on an album that we'll be taking a look at next week. So go ahead and try to figure out which one is which. Maybe you'll be able to pick it out. Maybe not. Who knows? Regardless, come back next Monday and check it out. So until then, go listen to even more awesome music, and I'll see you again real soon. Take care, friends.